All right, welcome, guys. I already see the chat blowing up here. We got Jason, we got Jonathan, and Brian. I know I saw Steven here, Eddie, Blogger. So many good guys in here. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Reliable HVACR live stream / podcast. You already know you can watch this after it airs. If you missed it, you can also listen on all podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere you listen. And today we got a special guest. We got a really impressive young dude killing it in the HVAC industry. So none other than Anwar. Let me bring him on real quick. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Anwar. I'm from out in Detroit. I'm an HVAC owner and technician, and it's a pleasure to be here, man. I always watch Reliable Adrian's podcasts and live streams, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. We got a lot of viewers out there, a lot of young guys. So I think it's important to have some other young guys on here like yourself. I've had some of your group on here too, Adam and stuff. So you're from, you said Detroit, right?
Yep. I'm out in Detroit. Yep.
How's the weather out there? Is it warming up already?
Yep. No, yeah, I think summer's going into a full effect. This past week was climbing up into the high 70s, and now it's going up into the 80s. So people turning on their ACs, not working, or calling for estimates. So it's definitely stuff has been picking up.
And then your winters get bad too, right? So you have like basically a 50-50, no heat, no call.
Yep. So yeah, basically we got all four seasons out here. So our winters are pretty bad. Our summers are pretty good. Yeah, winters can go down to about like below zeros, and then summers go up to above 90. But yeah, we just passed this winter, and it wasn't really too bad, thankfully.
Oh no, that I always find it interesting. I always ask people about the weather and stuff. Of course, we're already into May, end of May, so everybody's already getting that summer weather and stuff. So more than likely, everybody already has hot weather. But I'm always interested because of the winter, because Texas doesn't know what winter is. The coldest we get when it's like a freeze warning is like under 30 degrees, which doesn't happen every year. Sometimes we have really warm winters, which maybe we'll get into the 40s. So like if you're saying it gets below zero out there, I don't know how y'all deal with it. I wouldn't be able to. I'm over here like 50, 60. It's too cold for me already.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I don't run into it too much. Thankfully, I just do mainly like say 75% residential and then 25% light commercial.
Oh,
But
okay.
definitely gets it gets cold up on the roof during the winter. But yeah, as long as your troubleshooting is pretty well, you should be fine. Installs don't go too long, like too far. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, you get used to it.
uh, okay, so then you do both residential and commercial.
Yep. I do some residential,
Uh,
some commercial. I actually my portfolio is pretty wide. I'm trying to actually narrow it down a little bit more.
oh, okay, yeah. It's always good to find your little your niche or whatever. Like we could honestly, as HVAC techs, we could do anything we want to, right? We do a little bit of electricity, plumbing. As far as like the HVAC itself, we do, you can be under 20 tons, over 20 tons, chillers, industrial. It's a very big trade, and we're basically qualified to do, more than 75% of that. And then once you find something you like, I think that's always a good thing. Like I love kitchen refrigeration, so that's what I try to stick to. But I can do AC work. I turn away the residential stuff because I can't. I don't like doing that. So it's always good to narrow it down and get really good, or like Ben says, master your craft. Be really good at what you do. So uh, you do. Do you have a preference over residential and commercial?
Yes. I'm happy you asked that. So I'd say my service, I'd rather like commercial because I feel it's a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Residential service gets a little bit boring at times depending on what areas you serve. But commercial service is always fun. A residential install is always going to be like I've learned that recently. I like residential install a lot better than commercial install. I just feel like there's more craft to it. So like sheet metals instead of curb
Yeah.
adapters. Um, I don't know, like exhaust, line sets, like there's just a little bit more to it that I like more rather than like commercial, industrial, or commercial installs where it's just almost drop in, drop out.
Yeah, there's way more to it in residential, and that's what I kind of prefer to watch that as far as content. I rather do commercial, so I'm good with just swapping out the unit. The most I have to worry about is like a curb adapter or anything like that. But I like watching, guys, and I've seen your work too. You have good work as well as far as like content that you post on Instagram and stuff. But Jeff, Howard Mechanical, all those awesome guys that do those amazing installs. I like watching that stuff because there's so much that goes into the residential stuff. Running, like you said, running the line sets, doing the duct work, uh, getting all that stuff, prepped and put in. For me, it's cool to watch. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna stick to commercial.
No, I get it. Yeah, and I definitely get it. I don't know. I feel like with me, I definitely understand that. I like the commercial service so much more. Like refrigeration, um, it gets tense at times. Like I'm sure you can relate with like busy kitchens and like the high demand of it. But
Hmm.
I feel like that's what makes it so fun, And like um, I feel like you just see so much more than like residential service. Residential service sometimes it's just you see the same thing over and over.
Yeah, it's like a bad cap, a bad motor. Like you
Exactly.
do it all the same. Um, so you do kitchen work too, like commercial refrigeration in the kitchens.
Yep. I just stay away from the hot side of it. So I mainly do like walk-in coolers, walk-in freezers, prep coolers, reach coolers. I just stay
Hmm.
away from like ovens and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're similar, but I don't have fun working on the hot side. My dad does that stuff, and I used to be like a helper for that, and I would change out parts and this and that, but I never got it like super into it. It's good business, so like it's good for us to do both, especially where I'm at. A lot of the companies here do both, but I don't know. It's just something about the refrigeration that really got me. So I love walking coolers and freezers, ice cream machines, ice machines, all that stuff is like really cool to me. And then there's a whole bunch of like coolers that you get to see that are like built in. They'll be like the make line or the prep coolers where they're making the food. I do a lot of pizza places, so like pizza places have their own version of a cooler, and then a sandwich place might have a different version, even though they're like the same brand. Some of them have their own specific coolers, and it's built to how they want to use it. So it's always fun. I tell people they're all the same, but each one is going to be a challenge because you got to figure out, how it works, how they use it, the way they abuse them. They treat them like crap. So then you got to go in there and figure out what they did to it. But it's all fun. Like you said, the challenge is always going to be there. And that's my niche. That's what I prefer, the commercial refrigeration.
Yeah, I definitely I feel that. I feel like with me, my favorite, if I had to actually come down to decide, I'd say just residential install and commercial service. I know they're two different elements,
Yeah.
but I feel like those are like the most exciting, for me.
Well, that's a good, like, I guess a good pick from both sides because and that's actually the more challenging on the other side. The install on the residential side, I think is more challenging for residential work. And then the commercial side, putting in a new commercial unit or equipment is not that hard at all.
Yeah, as an
Um,
installer, it's like it's almost no work because it's mainly
yeah,
just the adapter and gas
you
and wire or just cable.
for HVAC, it's just drop in and then you hook it up. If it's like a commercial refrigeration, you're just giving them a new unit. I mean, there's not much to do on the reefer side unless you're building a box or something. But uh, yeah, those two are like the more challenging. Like you said, the install for the residential, and then I love troubleshooting commercial stuff just because it's a challenge.
Yeah.
I used to hate it when I started because I would it would eat at me, uh, especially after work. Right, you get your ass kicked by a unit, and you're like you go home and it's just bothering you. But the more practice you get, the more experience you get better at it, and then it just feels better the next time. You get to fix it quicker, you figure it out quicker, and then you get to get in and out, go to the next call, and every call that you finish is like an accomplishment and it's rewarding. That's another thing that I like about this trade. It's very rewarding. Whether like when I talked to Adam, he said that one of his favorite things is residential, and that's what he loves, right? He loves the talking to the people, the homeowners and stuff like that. But then he also, it's rewarding to him because he fixed an AC unit for a family that, didn't have any cooling or something like that, and they have kids. So that's his favorite thing about that. And for me, it's like on the commercial side, they have product, right? Freezers. They can't afford for all that food to go bad or anything like that. So they need you there at all hours of the night or whatever time it goes down. They need you there, and they need you to fix it. So it's rewarding, and that's one thing that I like about it.
Yeah, I'd say I think my one of my favorite things about like really the trade is just how contagious everything is. So like with me, I didn't really when I after like I'll explain actually first before I get into this
Hmm.
category is before like how I got into HVAC was it was really like it wasn't my first career choice. My first career choice was I wanted to become a nurse.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to help people, but I just like I just seen my career sheet at school and I was like, well, this one sounds like the best to me. And I was going to school and I didn't really like it as much. Like I didn't really like it. I was paying for school because I couldn't get financial aid, so it really tested me. And I was like, I don't know if I want to become a nurse that much.
Okay.
So I got a job with my pops as just an HVAC tech, and like I think after like a month of working with him, I was like, you know what, I should probably go to school for this. And even during that time, I told myself, all right, I can go to school. This will be a meantime option for me, just until I can build build myself up and really just find out what else I want to do. Maybe
Okay.
whatever it was. And yeah, so I ended up going to school and I was working at the same time with my pops. I did that for a few years, and yeah, I ended up changing my mind. I was like, I just seen such a bright future with my industry. I was like, I don't know why I should leave. But my favorite thing about really like this industry is so much change can happen not only with yourself but with the people around you. So what that means is like a lot of people in my community, I'd like to say I'm well known around my community. A lot of people
Mhm.
have seen me kind of change my life around, or not maybe not change my life around completely, but they've seen me like come from nothing, into something beautiful. And for me, that's like how do I say this? It's beautiful to be able to like inspire people that they could really do that as well. Like,
Mhm.
and that's why I have the pleasure of having a page called HVAC Visionaries. I'm not sure if you guys heard of it or not. Some people may or may not, but um, that we're trying to basically advocate for people to get into the trades. We're showing that just a better experience than what's already told to us. When people are
Mhm.
like told about the trades, they don't really get the full experience of how it really really is, and it's hard to do so. But usually there's a lot of bad stigma around it, and we're really just trying to change that and just like open eyes to people.
And I appreciate what you guys are doing, because that's the one thing that I always tell people. I'm like, I wish I had known about this sooner, right? Because I went to, or I finished high school, and I feel like I felt like I needed a break, right? I didn't want to go to school right away, so I took a year off, and then I didn't know what to do. So I went. Everybody wants you to go to college, makes you go to college. If you don't go to college, that's it's a horrible thing. So I enrolled. I took some what do you call them? The basics, right? My math, English, all that stuff, while I was deciding what to do with it. And the only thing that interested me was like electrical engineering, which would have been a completely different path. But uh, my dad was, he kind of self taught him, or he taught himself how to do that whole hot side, the commercial kitchen, because he was an electrician before. So then he got into it, and I mean, I remember seeing him studying, reading all the books, going to all the training that he could get. Like, he really went all in because he knew how good that industry was for him, right? And then he wanted, or then I ended up helping him as a helper, changing out parts, doing little things here and there. And then he kind of told me, he's like, there's a refrigeration side. I need somebody, to help me. Maybe we can, he kind of offered it up as like a partnership, because he doesn't do that stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll look into it. There was a course that I could take at my school, and I got into it, and I was just like, blown away. I fell in love with it. I've always loved fixing stuff, so it was perfect for me. And when people ask me if this is a trade to get into, there's always a need for air conditioning, heating, and then for me, there's always a need for there's always restaurants. There's always going to be restaurants till the end of the till the end of time, right? They have product, they need freezers, they need coolers, and then their customers are dining in, they need the AC on as well. So like that stuff never goes out. It's recession proof, as everybody likes to say. So like I said, during the whole pandemic, I'm pretty sure everybody is questioning their careers, but us as HVAC techs, we got right back to it, and there's a lot of money to be made. So like I said, I appreciate you guys, the HVAC Visionaries. I've had Adam on here. If you guys can show the younger guys, what it's all about, that's great. And I love the stuff that you guys are posting.
I appreciate it, brother. That means the world coming from you. I used to watch your I still do, but I used to, like I had watched your content like for a minute. That's how I actually like got better at my commercial service, was just watching your stuff. To be honest, I always watch it, and then then I'm like, man, like it's crazy how one person can change another person's life, and it's like contagious because I want to do it with other people, and then I'm sure
Yeah,
whatever we do at HVAC Visionaries is gonna want to pass down to other people. So it's really
it
crazy.
it's definitely contagious, like you said. So like, when I started or when I got online, I found Chris from HVACR videos, Tito from HVACR vlogger, all the OGs, Dave, NorCal Dave, HVAC Survival, all those on YouTube. I just stumbled upon them. And then it made me want to do better. It made me, want to do this. And then I got into the content stuff. And then I started getting messages that people, learn from my videos, which that was never the intention. I was just doing it for fun. And it's crazy. So that community, top notch over on Instagram. I'm glad that there's more people doing it. So like I said, HVAC Visionaries, that's a great group of guys right there. And all of you guys are like early 20s, I believe.
Yep, we're all under 25.
That's crazy, man. So
Yep.
where are you from originally?
So I'm outside of Detroit. It's called a city called Dearborn, but like ethnicity wise,
Hmm.
my family they actually immigrated from Yemen. It's a country over in the Middle East.
Okay.
A lot of people aren't probably too familiar with them, but yeah, my family came here back in 1980. We've been here
Oh,
for
okay.
quite some time. Um, but yeah, no, actually I'm happy you mentioned about your pops getting you into the industry, because I also wanted to mention like how applicable this our industry is to almost everybody. So say whether you want to become a businessman and you want to basically you want to open a business, you can open it at whatever scale you want to. There's so many different avenues and businesses and that scale. Or say something more realistic. So like my pops, he actually he didn't go to school for HVAC. He speaks like a lick of English, but he knows how to do HVAC and refrigeration. And that's like if that tells you something, I don't know what does. Or if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what does. Because um, yeah, you could literally make a name out of yourself just with just hard work.
It's the trade. It's the industry. Like I said, my dad saw something in it for him, and he went after it. Of course, hot side, like I said, it's kind of similar. It's like a lot of gas stuff, equipment. They have some of the parts are similar. Some of the stuff works the same, and it's in the kitchen. So like they go hand in hand. But that kind of stuff, like we need more qualified, good techs. There's always going to be demand. There's always going to be a need, and stuff changes. Like, let me. I need to go through the comments, but stuff changes all the time. So we're constantly being challenged. We have to keep up. Now I'm starting to see a lot of the digital stuff, as far as like commercial refrigeration, right? I was doing all mechanical old school for the longest time, and then like within the past year or two, we started getting all the boards and the walk-ins. Now I'm not having good luck with them; they're all shorting out. But uh, we have all that, the electronic expansion valve, so it's challenging. So there's always something for you, because I could never just sit at home or in an office, trying to do the same thing every day, typing up paperwork. I don't know, whatever they do. I can't do that. I need to be on the road, call to call. I might have an AC unit that, like I said, kicks my ass, but at the end of the day, I fix it. I feel great.
Yeah, no, yeah, those small wins definitely lead up, man. What's crazy is like, you're right. You build up yourself throughout your career, and that's what's crazy. It's like, not only yourself physically, but like basically financially. Say what you learn, you add up like every obstacle you go through, you end up adding to your arsenal of, you know, of whatever it is, troubleshooting or your installation skills. So, yeah, it's crazy to actually build yourself, just keep on building. And one thing I do want to shout out is like a lot of people who are like building, and what I mean by that is like they have full on, full time jobs, and then after are running their own jobs to build, and, just keep it going. And it says a lot. People are out here building their own futures, especially in our industry.
So you said you started with your dad working.
Correct.
Is that the company you stayed with, or did you go to another company
No, yes,
after that?
yeah. So after I was an apprentice with my dad for about 2 years and a half, and after that, I actually I opened my own company and I ran it for a few years, 2 3 years, and then I was like, let me take a break for a little bit. I stopped doing any installs, just small service, and I joined an industrial and commercial company as an installer and technician, and so I worked at a lot lower wage than I was used to making, but
It
but
happens.
yeah, and I was the way I was thinking about it was like, man, from what I know, my experience is gold. So this money isn't worth it to me. What I'm gonna take with it is gonna make me whatever whatever it does. Um, but yeah,
But yeah,
afterward,
but there's two ways to think about it, because like I said, with people, if they want to start a business, like you don't start at the top, right? You have to earn that. And even then, you can either work 24/7 and probably make the most money you've ever made, or have extra off time. Like I take advantage of my off time. I don't try to work every weekend, all night, every night. So there's different value in running a business, right? You make a lot of money, but you can also get a lot of free time. It's just, how you balance it out.
yeah, no, most definitely. Yeah, no, I worked with the company for a little bit, and then yeah, I realized I definitely like building my own empire a little bit more. Like,
Hmm.
and I just felt comfortable with my experience that I took from them. So, you know,
It's, and like you said, for anybody that missed it, you're 24 and you opened up a business did you open it up at 23, or what age were you?
no, I actually opened up, I think, 22.
At 22. This guy opened up his own business.
This guy.
Uh, and you did it the way that most people do. My dad did it the same way. He was still working at a big company here locally, which is the one that kind of offered him the change, right, from electrician to hot side tech. They offered him a job because of how, I guess, like how good he was, and people. He knows a lot of people. He's one of those guys that he meets somebody and they're best friends right away. So he's really good with his people skills and all that. So he got into this company and he worked his way up. He went up to top manager, area manager, whatever you want to call it, relatively quick. And then he was in charge of like training all the guys. He even had two of his brothers. He gave him a job and he's like, I can train you. It's not a big deal. Like, my dad knew his stuff. Trained my two uncles, made them from, I think one was like an alarm installer, like a
Yep, yep.
whatever. And then the other one was like a handyman. He would install like carpets and things like that. He took them in and trained them, and now they have a whole new career, right? They do everything from hot side to refrigeration, because then I trained them for mine. So, like, my dad got in there, went up to do everything for this company, but he wasn't happy, right? He didn't want to be in the office. He didn't want to be um, in this office role, and he's like, I need to get back in the field. And he tried to, but they didn't let him. He was, I guess, worth more to them in the office. And he's like, I need to. He's always wanted to start his own business, so he started it off on the side, which is, something like you did, and then you build on it. And that's what I tell people. That's the easiest way to get into the trade, because a lot of people ask me, if it's like worth jumping into. And I'm like, don't go all in all at once. You know, you're going to get overwhelmed. I mean, unless you want to do that and you have a bunch of money saved up or something, you can try. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but the best way to do it is, you know, you're probably working for somebody, do some calls on the side, and it doesn't have to be, just don't do it for their customers. You know, you don't want to be screwing around with that. You know, do family and friends, or leave some cards in a different area that they might not service if it's the same work. Like the guys with us, we don't do residential, so I tell them, yeah, you can do residential after hours. I don't care. Like I don't want to do it. If you want to do it, you know, do it after hours. Um, and then you build in your free time. I remember when my dad started his company, he was working early on the weekends, and I was in the truck with him, you know, falling asleep at 6 in the morning, whatever it was, because I wasn't used to it. And we were going out there to hospitals and whatever business he could pick up, and you just build from there. But it's like you said, it's building an empire. It's building this company from the ground up, and I think it's rewarding. It's a good accomplishment, and I feel like a lot of people can do it if they just try. And this is a perfect field to do that in. Like there's so many different avenues and different things that you can do in HVAC. So like you don't have to do residential, you don't have to do commercial. Like you can do so many different things, and your business can be narrowed down or niched into one little area, and you'll be good. You'll make money.
Yeah, no, definitely like running a business. One thing I can say about it is like it teaches you like how like a beautiful lifestyle, and um, teaches you to be disciplined. Like really, really just be like disciplined, and like how do I say this? I'm much more grateful for stuff just because I know the value of it. I know I've worked so hard for it. I know
Yeah.
I've built for it. I know I've like waited years for it. You know what I mean? Like I like that you mentioned that, you know, a lot of people are like they want to jump into the trade, but they want it to pay back almost instantly, like before they can even, you know, before you even
Hmm.
begin. But like the one thing about this industry is like you just give it a few years, it'll pay you decades in the industry. Like as long as you have the will and you have the like dedication and the vision. So I can't say it's guaranteed, but almost, you
Yeah.
know.
It's almost guaranteed. I
Yeah,
feel like
almost.
this
Yeah, yeah.
this business, you know, it'll keep you busy as long as I think most importantly, it's about doing good work and taking pride in your work. You're gonna have ups and downs. Even us, I feel like we're a great company. I try not to cheat the customer. I do everything I can, you know, as best to my knowledge. I don't go out there and, you know, lie to them or create anything, try to sell them anything. I go and I look at the equipment, whatever it needs, that's what I do. If it needs just a contactor, that's what I do. Just a motor, just this or that. Of course, you're going to give them recommendations on other stuff if you notice something else wrong with it. But we stayed honest, and we tried to take, you know, pride in our work, do it clean, you know, the best that we can do. And there's still going to be ups and downs. You're still going to lose customers here and there. Someone's always going to be cheaper than you. Someone's always going to do it dirt cheap. Uh, some companies love to go in and lose money because then they feel like they get the customer for longer, right? That they'll get more calls out of it. So there's always somebody running a special, somebody with a cheaper bid. So you're going to lose customers from time to time. We've lost big accounts, you know, and then we think it's the end of the world, but it's not. You give it a little more time, build up your reputation, and other customers, other accounts will come looking for you, or you can go out there. We went door to door, even as a commercial company. I went restaurant to restaurant, leaving flyers, business cards, you know, building up a website, getting all this stuff built up so that they could look at us and see that we're, you know, we're worth looking at, and that we do a good job. Another thing is, like I tell people nowadays, you know, everybody has a camera phone, right? Take before and after photos, and that's the good thing about this whole content thing, right? They might laugh at us, or they used to laugh at us, right? What are you doing recording or taking photos while you're at work? You're wasting the customer's time, this and that. It's actually beneficial, especially for a small business. before and after photos show washing a coil or doing something, and you can use those in your business and get more business out of it. So there's ups and downs, but for the most part, you're almost guaranteed to make money in this trade.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that about the whole thing, about other people underbidding, or basically you coming to the job
It
and doing the right
it
thing.
happens so
Yeah,
much down here.
yeah, especially out in Detroit, man. You wouldn't imagine. But I'm glad you mentioned that, because I tend, like, I feel like most people who that get into this industry, they want to get into this industry for an honest living. And like, what's more what's more honest when people call you for a problem, they have no idea what's going on, and you come and you tell them exactly what's really going on. You say, hey, you have a capacitor that's bad. That's why your blower is not running. Maybe every year and a half, 2 years, have a PM, just so it doesn't get dirty or something like that. So yeah, like, an honest living goes crazy. I'll be honest. Like, I've how do I say this? I've had like a lot of different careers, and my favorite by far is definitely the HVAC, because it's such an honest living that the food tastes so much better, and my sleep hits so much harder. I don't know if that
I
makes sense.
know, I know. It still baffles me because I just talked to somebody because I also have a buddy that I went to school with, like high, and that I know from high school, and he opened up his own. Him and his brother have a residential company around here. Now they're honest guys and they do good work, so I always recommend, if a friend of mine needs an AC or whatever checked out, I don't like to do that. Like I said, even for friends, like I
Yep.
for family, I'll do it. But when they find out you're an HVAC tech, I feel like everybody's like, "Hey, can you come look at it? Hey, can you give me a discount or this and that?" So it happens. But so I have a buddy that does it, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. So I have people that will, they might have a minor leak, and it's like an R22 system, but I know that system is well taken care of. It might just need a new evaporator coil, something that can be fixed. I'm heavy on repair first. I don't like to sell. I always tell them, if you want a new unit, we'll do that. You can get warranty out of it. All this there's benefits to buying a new unit. But if you want to fix it, that's what I would prefer to do, and I'll give them, the list of repairs or whatever. But um, I hear a lot from my friends when they get a company that goes out there. Oh, you have a leak, but you should really just get a whole new system. I'm like, well, that leak repair is probably pretty cheap to do compared to buying a new system. So now I have my other, like I said, my high school buddy. I usually tell him, I got a friend that has a leak or needs something. Most of the time it's a leak. I even had one that was like it wasn't that old. It was 410. And anybody that goes out there, they want to sell them in a unit, which I hate. I hate that happens. But um, yeah, like I'm a repair first, and it's a shame, companies come out here, they just want to make a quick buck. If you do honest work, like you said, you'll eat for life. You'll always have a good reputation. Customers calling, customers happy, and when that happens, they will tell other people and they'll refer you, and then word of mouth is like the best advertisement.
Exactly. No, I'm glad you actually mentioned that, man. Like, the small, like, I ran into this a lot, but like the treatment, like, the treatment between big companies and small businesses are crazy. Like, especially because we have a lot of, in like Metro Detroit area, we have
Hmm.
tons of small independent businesses, and we have like a few HVAC companies, but like the difference is huge. Just from the like customers I've dealt with, you see it all the time. They're always trying to like sell newer equipment just because they don't want to deal with it, or but what I always see is, I always feel like small business owners, they always like have a little bit more love with the treatment. So like, whether it's like you said, finding an issue rather than like, say, finding the leak, or rather than like trying to sell a new unit, because
Yeah.
deep down they know, sure, an install is nice, but if I tell this person, if I show this person, I could fix it, And without them having to spend all that money, I know they're gonna have me locked in for life. So it's
Yeah.
it's really really crazy. Like, and I always see that with I think Gabriel HVAC SG, um, Northwest HVAC.
Yeah.
They're always like posting PM videos or cleaning videos of their small businesses, and I love that, because it shows like this is what I built. This is what you know. Yeah, this is like what I love and tend for. So yeah, definitely something I look up to.
Well, that's awesome, man. Just looking through the chat real quick. Uh, so like at what age did you start? Like how long have you been in the field?
About 4 years.
4 years. That's
4 years.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been in the industry about 4 years, and it's been a fast 4 years. I'll tell you that. I got in like I think a year before COVID, so yeah, time is flying by.
Well, that's good. I'm just looking. Let me look through the comments real quick. I had seen some comments I was going to pull up, and I lost them. Let's see. Jonathan, no side jobs for me. I don't. I'm the same way. I won't do side jobs per se. I mean, I have a business, but even if I was working somewhere, I would probably prefer the time off because this industry, I want everybody to know about it and get into it, but it's not for everybody. Taking the heat, uh, being mechanically inclined, all this other stuff. But
It's like a hero. It's like being a hero, to be honest. Like, and you have to be responsible. Yeah, like it's a lot to be responsible for. So yeah, I agree with you on that. Um, yeah,
yeah, there's a
I
lot of
agree.
guys. I'm old, no longer want to take side jobs.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm young, man. I'm trying to build, and the amount of money you make compared to um, a wage on a job is ludicrous. And especially if I have a business and I'm insured and everything's legal, then yeah, why not?
Man, and that gets me too. Like, so you guys in your state, you have to be licensed and everything?
Yes.
Because I know some don't, which is crazy to me.
No, yeah, I'm
Uh,
good. I'm good on all that. I don't want to lose everything.
no, well, there's some
Yeah.
states that don't require it at all.
Yeah. No.
Like anybody can do it in some states. So that's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah. No. Actually, I don't even think we need to in Michigan. I'm not 100% certain, but I did it just because like it's just a
But
lot.
you're licensed and everything.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, yeah, no. I was gonna say, I'm licensed, insured. I don't know why anyone wouldn't be, because like stuff like in our industry, like I'm sure you know this, but stuff can go wrong at an instant. If you're not being attentive, if you're not being,
Which
yeah,
which is which is weird because like around here, like we do have to be licensed in Texas. And we have to have, the EPA and all that to buy refrigerant. Like there's things in place, and I get so upset because there's people that will do it on the side, and everybody wants to pay, cheap for their air conditioner. So there's a lot of people that do it on the side and get away with like, you know, crazy stuff. They don't have recovery machines, they don't have vacuum pumps, they don't have any of that equipment. They'll just, fix whatever and then pump it up with refrigerant, which it's a shame, but it happens a lot. And that always got on my nerves when I started, because I'm like, why are y'all, out here giving us a bad name, causing all these headaches? I had to take over a restaurant once, and the whole thing was like ripped apart. There were these Lennox units. So Lennox has all the crazy wiring on the commercial rooftop units that had like three compressors, and then like it's all like wiring everywhere. I don't think it was a Prodigy, but it was one of those styles. Somebody cut all the wires. It took me a while to figure out how to wire everything back together. Get a because the board went bad, and they didn't. I guess they didn't want to get the board or something, and they bypassed it. But they had the compressor running 24/7 without the blower motor.
oof,
So that whole compressor was like a block of ice. It was like snowing inside. So those are people that probably are not licensed. Don't take pride in their work, and then either give us a bad name because then the customer doesn't trust the next company, or they just give us a bunch of headaches.
Yeah, no, yeah, you definitely we run into a lot of that in Detroit. Unfortunately, it's I'm sure. Yeah, I was say, I'm sure you've seen my Instagram sometimes. I tag you some stuff I see out
Oh
on the
yeah,
roads.
like I had looked through it again recently, and I remember like I think you had one where they stole like the coils and a
Yep.
bunch of that hasn't happened here, but I hear that a lot. The people that steal the copper and whatever they can off the unit. I guess that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it happens a lot more often than you think. Like people will just take the like condenser, the A coil, heat exchanger, right off the unit. It's insane.
Man, Brian, after after I posted the issues with Intelligent, he's seen 4 other videos. Hmm. That's the one that I'm having issues with. Is I don't know if you've seen the Intelligent by Heatcraft. I want to say they might have been at AHR or something. I should have went by their booth, but I wasn't there long. I didn't get to do it. I ran into you though. That was cool.
Yep.
I saw you at the award show and then at the AHR.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. No, this year was pretty sweet. I think last year was my first year of the expo, and then this year was my first year of the expo, and I seen so many people on
Yeah,
Instagram. It was like not overwhelming, but like I thought I was in like a virtual reality for a second because I seen like hundreds of people that I knew from Instagram in real life, and it's just like whoa, a lot of people.
yeah, it's crazy. So you went to the Vegas one,
Yep, yep. Vegas was my first one. Yeah.
and I think they mentioned you in the uh, in the award show, right? The speech.
Yep, yep.
You were the guy that was looking for Mike.
Yep, yep. That was it. Last year was my first year, and I literally went just because I was seeing Michael Flynn posting stuff online. I always liked all of his stuff, and I was like, I seen them promoting. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I go? It'd be a great time. And I ended up going, and I ended up seeing Michael Flynn, and I like at the Subco booth, and yeah, I asked for a picture, and then I just got close with I got more involved in the HVAC industry, and then a
Hmm.
year later, I actually ended up getting like mentioned at the HVAC award or HVAC technical award show. So I was like, from Detroit, I was like, oh, that's me, that's me.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I went to I think the Vegas one was my first one too, and I was like super overwhelmed with it. But then this last time in Atlanta, I think I saw more people in the Atlanta one, and it was like a good community, good showing. Everybody was there. The award show was like awesome. It was a good time. Oh, we got Ryan in the chat. Pretty cool shirt. Thank you. Everybody's going crazy for this logo. I need to make I need to make stickers for it. Voltage supply issues feeding the EEV seems like one of the issues. The issue I'm having is the board. Yeah, the board won't communicate to the EEV, which is funny. I need to try and get Heatcraft on the phone because I had tech support or something from them, and they could not answer me as to how to check this thing because if I run it in test mode, it works, but once I run it in cooling mode, like it won't open the expansion valve or anything. So we'll see. So, do you got anything else going on? Any hobbies? Like how do you separate or get off of work and try not to or take your mind off of HVAC? Because I know it's hard. I know all of us probably think about it in our sleep or have nightmares. But what do you got? What do you do to stay sane or hobbies or anything?
Yeah, with me, as a business owner, yeah, my life does pretty much revolve against HVAC, like whether it's inventory keeping or materials or bookkeeping or whatever it is. If it's not HVAC, I try to go to the gym every day, so 5 times a week at least. Um, Eating, unfortunately, I burn so much food that I have to eat. Like I have to spend a good amount of my time eating. So yeah, eating.
I feel like I used to be like that, and then the older I got, the less calories I burned. So I have to watch what I eat.
Oh man, I'm skinny. Like I don't really gotta worry about food I eat. I
You're
have to make sure I eat.
Yeah, you're like my brother. I have my middle because there's three of us. I took my youngest brother,
I
David.
remember that. I remember that man.
Yeah, so I have another brother in the middle, and he's like you. He has to eat so much to gain weight because he was tired of being so skinny that he like went and purposely was eating all day. He finally like gained weight, but like he's like you. Me, I mean, I stay relatively, how I am, but I do have to watch. Like I switched to like zero sugar stuff and all this crap because I try to make time to work out, which is a good outlet, right? You know, I love sports, basketball, working out. That's a good way. That's a good like therapy to get your mind right too. So I've been trying to do all that, but it's very hard, when you have all this stuff going on, running a business, answering calls all the time. I'm sitting in front of a computer sometimes doing all the business side, running errands, and then doing all the calls that I have to do. So I know there's not a lot of time for hobbies, but I like to ask like if there's anything that helps you after work.
Yeah, no, I like to see my family. Creating content. I know it's still work, but like creating content. Um, like because
What?
sometimes,
Yeah, which is funny, but like it is work, right? And it's about work, but that's something that I always like doing. I used to like to video edit, photo edit, so now I get to do it for work, and it's like a fun thing to do.
yeah, no, that's exactly what I do. Like what I try to do is like when I'm not physically tired, I try to work on stuff like that. But it really just comes down to balancing your energy and whatnot. I'm still trying to learn that. I'm being honest. But yeah, no, one thing I definitely want to like get into is like I mentioned is like how people like really like just building are out here building their future, like are just becoming self sufficient and like are like how you say this just getting better and better and better every day, and it's off of honest living. That's something that's like crazy to me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's something that my dad instilled in me, right? Like I saw how hard he worked, so that kind of stuck with me. Always trying to be better, always trying to learn more. I got all that from him, hard work, all that stuff. And then I saw him running his business as an honest man, honest living. Uh, treating everybody like family, friend, like being friendly with everybody, not cheating anybody over. Like if we ever had a guy that tried to, they're like, "Oh, I can make you more money by doing this or doing that." My dad was like, "Cut that out. We don't need that." It's really about your reputation, and then like I don't know, there's always like going to be like a karma thing to me. Like you got to watch what you're doing. If you're out there ripping people off, it's going to come back to you one way or another. So, I get that about the whole honest thing, and that's something that my dad instilled in me too, and it's the best way to do things.
Yeah, I know. Like being in this industry definitely tells you to be like not tells you it. You learn this before you get into the industry, but like I feel like it instills a like a very good moral compass into you. Like just because you know everything that takes, you're like you don't want to screw anybody over, and you just want an honest living.
So I had a couple of questions from Instagram. What do you think is the best route for a new guy to get into the trade? Like, I don't know. I know you started with your dad and you basically ran your own business at a very young age. So you got in there kind of quick. But for a new guy coming in, do you have or have you noticed a good way to get into the trade?
Yeah. So what I would say is definitely just being disciplined, and if you work with a good company that really is in the same vision that you're trying to go into depth with. So like a good example, like one person I look up to, and like I've seen him come up in this past time. I think his name is Joey. I don't know his last name. I think it's HVAC Combat. Um,
Okay, yeah, I think I've
I'm
seen
not.
that one.
But I always see his installs. Like he worked with I think with Jeff Dem and like Michael Flynn,
Mm.
and like it's contagious. Like imagine you would want to work with the best of the best just because they're gonna hand you the not hand you the best of the best, but it's gonna you're gonna have the best experience you possibly can. So one thing I'd want to recommend is just like with as open as our industry is, like there's we have a whole bunch of different opportunities and different avenues. So whether it's refrigeration, whether it's boilers, whether it's just heating, cooling, plumbing, whatever it is, mechanical. One thing I'd recommend is just do your research with whether it's a company you work for or equipment that you service. It's just try to have the best experience you possibly can because that's what pays you the best.
I just want to give a quick shout out. Zach from HVAC Shop Talk is in here. If you guys didn't see his last video, I kind of made a cameo in it. Just a heads up. Um, and you said you went to school. What kind of school did you go to?
I went to Northwestern Tech. It's like a trade school. It was only, I think, like 10 months. So it's not long. What's nice about it is you have like 2 hours of lecture of them actually like teaching you, and then other 2 hours of class is you working on the equipment. And
Oh, okay.
and I was like I was working in the fields while I was in school because I think it was only Monday to Friday, like 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So I was still working as a technician and then going to school at night. So it's like very, very suitable. But yeah, one
Oh,
thing,
okay. So you did both at the same time.
yeah, and it helps a lot. It helps a lot. You're just being instilled, just, like it's just easier, you know. That's
Yeah,
one thing I had a problem with.
if you're young and you can do it, definitely. Like, back in the day, like I said, when I went to school, I just wanted to get in there, and I was doing the same thing, working and going to school. So I get that aspect, but if you're young, that's the best time to take advantage of being able to do that and have that energy and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, how I feel is like, I always had this problem in school where like I could not focus for nothing, man. Like if it wasn't something I really cared about, my mind was elsewhere, like
Dude, I'm
out
the
the
same
window.
way, dude.
Out the window. So like the satisfaction of learning something and then applying it the same day, you know what I'm saying? And like not only in school but in with your everyday life, it's absurd. It's like there's no feeling like it. It's satisfaction, It's crazy.
Yeah, dude, I'm the same way, and that's what I tell people too. I'm like, like I was one of those guys that couldn't wait to get out of high school, couldn't wait to get out of, not have to do that anymore. And then like I was like, man, I got to go to college, I got to do all this again. But once I got into HVAC school, now how long did you say yours was?
10 months, not bad. And
10,
it's so
10
much
months.
cheaper. Oh my god, it's so much cheaper, man. You wouldn't even imagine. Like my original schooling was gonna cost like 60,000, and then my whole class or my whole certification was 16,000, and then financial aid covered six. So I paid 10,000 for everything, and that's on a loan. So it's like
Oh, okay.
very suitable, very very suitable to a lot of people.
Yeah, because some of the trade schools that are like the crash course, it's like 6 months or less. They get ridiculously expensive for some reason. But I went through my college. I did the financial aid stuff, so that kind of took care of that. Um, but yeah, like once I found that, it was the same thing for us. But it was like I think it was like every other day. Like there would be 2 days of lecture and then 2 days of hands on. Out in the back working on the walk-ins or whatever they have. They had a lot of equipment that we were able to work on, so that was amazing. Like you said, you could learn it and then immediately, put it to use. How do you pump down a system? You learn about it, and then you go and do it like right away, or take apart a compressor, do vacuums. We did a lot of recovery, charging. They had a bunch of training boards. We even did stuff in the class. If we could get a training board, or have little things to wire up. So I loved all that. So you learn it and you get to use it right away. That's the best thing. So would you recommend a school, or do you think uh
So really, like the way I
did it help you like to go to school and then go out in the field?
Oh yeah, no, no, tremendously. No, no, yeah. It was the way that like I'm gonna just tell you a very big misconception I've always heard from fellow technicians. So like as I was going to school or a little bit after, a lot of people just really think that once they finish trade school, they're like their life is set. You know what I mean? It's everything is set and clear in stone, and it's gonna be you're well off. No, it's not like that at all. You're gonna have to build work for everything you have, and um yeah, that's something that like people just kind of forget. It's like it doesn't come right away. You know.
Yeah, and some people like I don't know, maybe they're already good with their hands, they already have a good understanding. They can go out and just get experience and go in the field. And some people just learn better like that. But I like you went to school, I went to school. It's a good way to get your basic knowledge, get your textbook stuff, and then know all the terms. When you go out there and they're like, "What's your superheat?" and you're like, "I don't know what the hell that is."
Exactly.
That's not a good start. So get to learn all that in the class, apply it. Get tested on it. Basically, you get to do all that, and then you go out there. They're gonna appreciate that you know this stuff already. That you know how to put on gauges or things like that. I don't know, that stuff kind of goes a long way with companies, but it's not the only way. You can go out there. If they're willing to train you, just go out there and get a job. But everybody's always looking, so there's always going to be a need for techs.
Yeah, no, there is always demand, and yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Is like they just teach you kind of theory in school. Like they don't really, no one can teach you what you're gonna see in the future or the circumstances you're gonna deal with. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's mainly just the theory, and then it really like what's nice about like our industry. There's different schools. So say you want to get your bachelor's, and you can do your
Oh
bachelor's.
yeah.
You go if you want to go to trade school, you can go to trade school. If you want to even test out to get your universal or your EPAs, you can do that. So like that's what's really so nice with it. And like another thing is like being how do I say this? But so say right now, I have my universal, and I don't have my mechanical contractor's license yet. How I do
Mhm.
my installs is I have my own mechanical contractor that pulls my own permits, and we do our own thing from there. But right now, I'm in the way, or I'm on my way to getting my mechanical contractor's license, so I could
Mhm.
do everything I have to do. But what's nice about that is I'm not in a program. I'm in my own program of life, So say like in one of my past careers is like you have to pass this test, or you would have to wait another year and a half to get into this program, something like that. What's nice is it's very suitable for your life. That's just like something that's it's crazy, you know.
Like yeah, and it's very easy to get into. Like I said, you can go the school route, or you can just see if a company will hire you and train you. There's always a way. Hughes, man, can you give me another quick introduction? I showed up late. This is Anwar. So he's 24. He runs his own business. Right now, you're solely doing your business.
Correct.
He's already out there on his own. So he does commercial and residential, a little bit of refrigeration, right?
Yep.
Do you work on like ice machines, anything crazy, ice cream machines?
Yeah. Yep. I work on ice machines, prep coolers. I even know how to work on boilers, so hydronic systems, some plumbing, some electrical. Um, yeah, it's pretty vast. I actually got
Man,
some pretty vast experience.
man, yeah. Well, refrigeration in itself, you run into so many different things, and that's one thing that we don't do is like boilers or anything like that because down here you don't need a lot of that stuff. Um, but that's crazy. So you've covered everything basically.
Yeah, so what's nice, like, I not pick and choose, but basically, so it's pretty vast, but it's not too much. So say like right now, like you said, I know how to work on boilers, but I only service them. I won't ever like install a whole piping system for a boiler, just because as a small business owner, it wouldn't be the most logical thing to do unless I was comfortable with it. But I'll be honest, only 4 years in the industry, I'm not that experienced to do so. So it's nice you can like pick and choose. So I've done some, like I said, boilers, or I've done refrigeration, I've done commercial, HVAC, I've done just residential, I've done plumbing, electrical. It's crazy. Everything you learn, you take it with you. So
Man, but yeah, only 4 years in, but I think you're doing a hell of a good job, um, broadening your skills and stuff, right? So, and that's a good thing about being an HVAC tech. I feel like if you put anything in front of us, we'll figure it out and we'll fix it. So, uh, it's a very good skill to have. So, like I have kids, so if I can pass it down to them, I sure as hell will. And if they can at least learn how to fix things, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, no, we learn a lot of different stuff. You're right. It's like teaching someone how to fish. It's a big
Oh yeah.
difference. It's teach someone how to fish, and they're like, "Whoa," I know it's forever.
And then if anything, like my kids, I would love them to be in the trade, but if anything, they don't want to be in the trade. You buy a house, you can, check your own AC, air conditioner. You can check. I work on my car too. I've worked on a lot of like the air conditioning in my car. I've replaced compressor, the condenser basically, leaking line sets. I've done all that stuff to my car because I kind of have a general knowledge of it. So like it goes a long way, and you can be handy in other aspects around the house and stuff like that. So I think it's a good skill to, you know, you're well rounded when you're an HVAC tech. Like I said, we have to wire our own stuff in. We deal with like drain lines, plumbing, stuff like that. So very good, well rounded skill.
Oh, I want to mention something. Man, the people you meet, man, you meet the coolest people, man. Like in our industry, I met some of the coolest people, and yeah, it's like the like-minded people all trying to just support you. So it's beautiful. I really want to shout out to all my people. I wouldn't shut up if I started naming them. So I'm gonna say shout out to all my people. I really appreciate y'all.
Hey, there's so many now and it makes me so happy that there's more content coming out. Because that was something I got questioned a lot too. Was like, or that they would tell me that they want to post, but they're afraid to, or this and that, and I'm like, just post. I'm like, you might know something that I don't or somebody else doesn't know, and it can help them out. So I've learned a lot from random posts. It doesn't always have to be the same guys. Like random people start posting, and I see it. If I see like a little tip, trick, or how to do something that maybe I never thought of before, that's cool, and it helps me out, makes my job easier for something. So I think everybody should post their content.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who are kind of like that. That's why I like that my HVAC Visionaries page because we're trying to like advocate, even for the techs who are already in the field, like
Y'all are
this.
y'all are pushing the memes, the tech tips,
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's. I want to make other like I want to have other technicians post content too because there's a lot of like there's a lot of technicians that do amazing work but don't really just post. You know what I mean? Like in the industries, our community on at least especially on Instagram has been growing a lot, but
I
I
know.
still know there's a lot out there that do amazing work.
I
So,
I know, man. And like when I started, I had people like leaving negative comments or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I do better work than you," and this and that. And I'm like, "Okay, post it. Like I don't care. Like post it. I would love to. I would love for you to enlighten me and how to do something. Like just post it. Like um, if it's helpful to somebody else, I'm all for it. So it's just a community that's grown, and I've been very happy to see it grow. And like I always tell everybody, I'm like, if I can do it, you can do it. I edit on my iPad now. I used to do it on my phone. I do all this stuff on my phone and my iPad. Like it's not that hard to do.
yeah, no, you're right. It's and then like the stuff that comes with it. It's like the way I like before I started posting content, I was like, I just want it just for advertising my business or just to just so people know what I'm up to. A lot of people are like always asking about my whereabouts. What are you up to? What are you doing? And I was like, I should probably post a few things just so people know what I'm doing. Or I advertise for my business, and then I started posting, started meeting some more people, and then like um, yeah, you get people who like look up to you too. You're like, man, people like it's crazy. I post just because I posted just because I wanted to share my experiences, and then people were like, whoa, we want more. And you're like, well, yeah, it's crazy.
And Efren is in here. He wants to know how much different are the worlds between comfort cooling and refrigeration. Do you think there's a big difference from HVAC to refrigeration?
There's not too big of a difference. If you just look at like your refrigeration cycle, I think. Hold on, one second. I actually got it on my wall.
Oh, you gotta. Oh,
It's my wall.
nice.
But yeah, no, basically it's just a few different components. But once you understand components a little bit better and you understand like your saturation temps with different refrigerants, and your valves, like your then you're pretty much good. At least in my opinion, it's really just for me it was just the components, the um, the saturation types, the valves, and what else was it? And freezers. Oh, freezers messed me up for a little bit of time because of the defrost timers. But yeah, then after a little bit of work, I ended up catching on to it.
Yeah, and that's what I tell people too. It's all the same. It's all the same major components. You have a compressor, evap condenser, and a metering device. It's just like the space that you're cooling, the temperature. Freezer, it's going to be under zero, and all the safeties in between. There's not much difference. It's just different little safeties, parts, you know, stuff like that. So, like you said, once you kind of figure things out, see things, like freezers are unique in their delays, defrost timers, what do you call it? The termination, all that stuff. Once you figure out what they do and what they're for, it's fine. They go through their cycle, they have a delay or whatever, then the unit kicks on. The compressor does the same thing in the AC world as it does in the commercial refrigeration. So to me, I always tell people it's the same thing. If you know how to do one, you know how to do the other. You'll learn the components as you go.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I'm glad Efron asked that because, yeah, it's not too far off. It's really just like you said, like just a few parts, like how your refrigeration system is a bit different, and yeah, that's about it.
He had also asked on Instagram, uh, if you find yourself interested in any different career, and what would you do? I guess if you weren't doing HVAC,
I actually don't.
you don't know.
No, no, like it's yeah, it's kind of bad I'm saying that, but yeah, no, not really. Yeah, no, I've never no, not really. I've always liked HVAC. Nothing ever draws me away from it. Like that's what's so beautiful about it is it's anything that I feel that I say this, it's a hard pill to swallow, but everything that is hasn't worked for me has been my fault because I know how beautiful the straight is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
you learn as you go. You struggle here and there, but
yeah, no, but
um,
it's been beautiful to me that I can't. You know what I mean? I love it. I haven't had a reason to want to leave it.
yeah, that's what I say too. Is like, it's not for everybody. It's stressful at times. There's long hours. If you do commercial or even supermarket type of stuff, that's middle of the night calls, weekends, whenever the stuff goes down. Like that stuff used to get to me because I'm like, how does this equipment always give out on the weekend? Like it's never during the week, during normal hours or anything like that. I used to get so frustrated. So once you get over that, a lot of it's like mental, right? As long as you take care of yourself, if you're out in the sun, you're in an attic, stay hydrated, take your breaks if you need them. Get like umbrella or something, a nice hat that covers you. Take care of your body, but other than that, it's like mental stuff. So yeah, everybody gets frustrated in this trade, but once you know how to deal with it or get over that, everything else is great. The work, once you get the hang of it, it's great. Once you start making the money, it's great. So there's so many more benefits than I think negative things. So like like I said, with you guys, HVAC visionaries, I hope you guys continue to show everybody the ropes and the young guys, the good and the bad, but more the good.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, no, that's the goal, man. We're trying to definitely advocate for people to start posting more content, get into the trade, show definitely a better experience of it. You know, there's so many different good vibes that into it.
Where? Oh, here he is. Adam's in the chat too.
Hey,
We got almost all the HVAC visionaries in here. It's okay. So it's Anwar's in it, and then it's Adam Wolf of HVAC,
hmm.
Pure on Parole, Efren. Then you got Jeffy Pipes,
Hmm.
and What's the other guy's name?
G Torres. His name is Garrett.
Garrett. Okay, I couldn't remember his name. And that's it, right?
Yep, just us 5.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's 5 guys. If you guys didn't know, check out HVAC Visionaries on Instagram and TikTok.
Yep.
All right, let me see if there was any other questions. Hey, what tool bag are you rocking? I always like to ask people like what they got going on.
So I'm actually rocking my TP5B. I got it in
that's right.
I got it in a giveaway. I won about HVAC Diablo. I was hyped. I won that.
How do you like that one?
It's really nice. I actually I'm rocking it with the satchel. I think I was talking to you about that. I came with like 3 different ways to use them. You either got like a belt clip, or you got a satchel you could use, or sorry, a handlebar you could use.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I ended up just using the satchel. I was using my tech pack, my backpack before that. But man, when you're doing residential, that thing is heavy and big. It's bulky. So I don't really need too much anymore. If I'm just doing service, I just need the TP5B with all my stuff, and I'm good.
So you that's the one that you grab like for daily type of work?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Favorite. So you got what'd you say, the 5?
Yep, the TP5B. Yeah.
TP5B, and then you got the tech pack backpack?
Yeah, I think the LT, I forgot which one it is. But yeah, I know it's the backpack. It's one of the older ones.
Yeah, I have the backpack too. I don't really use it anymore. I kept getting, smaller and smaller, trying to see what kind of a loadout I can do to where I can troubleshoot and do most of my repairs without having to get that big backpack. So yeah, I feel you. I only take the backpack down if I'm doing like really major repairs where I need a lot of like wrenches and different kind of nut drivers and stuff. So we're using, are those the only 2 bags you have? So before you won that one, you were using the backpack?
Yep. I just used that and my pack out.
Oh man, my back. I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I can't carry this thing every day.
Yeah, it gets really, really heavy, man. Especially if you're like, I was using it for residential, and like it gets tight in residential. So like, I was like, I need to change. And then, so I just so happened to win a giveaway, and there was the bag I wanted, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm hype.
Brian, I appreciate the Vito King comment. You got that TP double XL? That's the one that I got now. The blackout one. That's a cool one. They have, I can't say too much. I don't know if anybody from Vito's in here, but they have some really cool stuff coming out. So next year, even better. Zach, I like the OTMC and Tech MC. Tech MC, yeah, that's another popular one that people go with. Because my backpack is like an MC. It's a smaller one. Did you have the smaller one or the bigger backpack?
Oh no, I had the bigger one. I had like the bigger one.
Oh man, that one's even bigger because I had the MC one.
I had I think the LT. I think it's called the LT.
Oh, okay, yeah. Man, those things. I'm so glad I got another bag because I was like, for everyday service, I really needed to save my back.
Yeah, I know. With me, it just was like getting really annoying. I didn't need to carry all that stuff like I'd carry my big old backpack just to use my screwdriver and my drill, and I was like, come on, man.
I'm guilty of that too. Grabbing the meter and like an all-in-one and maybe some pliers. I'll just go up to the roof, put them in my pocket or something.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep.
Zach, appreciate the super chat, man. Oh yeah, and then the backpack. The backpacks suck. I don't know if when you go through like roof hatches.
Oh yeah.
You ever get stuck?
The little loops. Yeah. That's happened to me so many times. The little loops on the side. And I'm like, oh, I get stuck.
I was like, yeah. Have you ever gotten? It's happened so many times.
Oh wait, I got a question for you, Adrian. It's funny.
What's up?
You ever see restaurant owners with a knife trying to turn the thermostat?
Actually, I don't think I've caught anybody doing that.
Never?
I don't think so. For like the walk-ins or?
Yeah. I've seen that before. I'm like, I walked in. I'm like, huh? Like,
I feel like I have. I feel like or yeah, I think I have seen that, but like it's been a long time. But like, I go there and I'm like, why are you messing with like putting it all the way down is not going to do anything. Like if it's not working, just call us. The same thing with the ACs. They'll put them like at 50 or 60, whatever it goes down to, and it's like, and they're like, yeah, it wasn't working. We thought it was going to work, after a while. But here it is, like late at night, they call me, and I'm like, well, now I have to go out there late at night or on the weekend.
yeah,
Just,
I always try to tell people your thermostat will just run until your house gets that low. But or like the one that really gets me, so many bad blowers because of it. But like, whenever people leave their thermostat, like the blower or their fan on, that's so common. I don't know if you run into that a lot, or I'm sure a lot of like service or residential techs will say that, but a lot of people will leave the thermostat, like the fan setting on the thermostat, on.
oh, I never thought about that for residential. That's even worse.
Yeah,
Because
that'll
like,
literally just run.
yeah, I've seen it for commercial, and I'm like, are you guys like doing it on purpose? Because like when it gets hot, they're just getting hot air, and they start having all these other issues with like condensation and different things. And I'm like, you see this little button here? Just automatic. Leave it alone. You can change the temperature if you want, whatever. Just leave it on auto. But I never thought about that for residential. Like there's no reason to have it on.
Yeah, no, it's a lot more common than you think.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, no, it's like yeah.
All right, guys, in the chat, I'm gonna look through the chat. If you guys have any questions for Anwar, let me know. We are a little over an hour, so I don't want to keep him too long. Still got a lot of people in here.
Yeah, no,
Zach here. The fan is only designed to mix air, but it just re-evaporates condensate on the evap coil. Ends up bad. Yeah, there's just issue after issue. There should really be no reason to do or to leave it on. And we have so many issues right now. Like I don't know who installed, because we have I mean, I don't like giving out the customers, but it's a pizza place. Um, a lot of their equipment, and it happens with the ones that have. Some of them have commercial, or for the most part, they're rooftop units. A few of them have split systems because I guess the space is kind of small. Uh, a lot of them are having this issue where their kitchen is too hot. Now, I don't know if it's because it was a different business before, because it's always in the strip mall. Maybe it was something before and they converted it to a kitchen. Maybe it was an office space before or something. I don't know what it was. But like the back, like on one of them, the back gets super cold and the kitchen gets super hot. But then like the back AC has duct running to the kitchen. So if that back one is not running, the kitchen gets very hot. So like I don't like to do a lot of duct work. I don't want to reinstall anything. So, we're like, hey, we're gonna close off some vents in the back because it gets way too damn cold. We're gonna put you a sensor in the middle somewhere where it reads both sides or some of the kitchen. And then we're gonna redirect some of your duct, just to balance it out. Cause I don't know, some of these, I would like to think that all companies like install it properly. And I've even been told that in my comments and stuff. They're like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It was designed for that, or it was install it. The installer could do nothing wrong, right?" I'm like, I don't know. You should see some of the places I go to. Like, it's ridiculous how hot one area is and cold another is. Like, there's something going on there. So it's not properly designed or it's not balanced. We have a lot of those too, where it's not balanced right. The doors get stuck, or for the commercial buildings,
Yep.
they have a hard time opening the doors and stuff. And I'm like, well, we need to balance your air and all that. So I don't know. We run into a lot of that where I don't think stuff is, I don't know if it's not installed right or not designed right for the purpose that it needs to be, like a kitchen. And that's been giving me like headaches recently.
Yeah, oh man, you should see in Michigan, man. The like some of the duct designs are like absurd. Like a lot of the houses in Michigan, like 3-story homes. Um, they're most of them are like, yeah, basically most of them will have 2 furnaces in the basement, never on in the attic. So it's
Oh,
always a hot attic and a cold basement. So it's like, yeah, we see it a lot. Poor duct design. Yeah, and then sometimes like when it's especially when it's a already furnished like building or house, you're like, well, what am I gonna do here? You know.
yeah, yeah, it's already there, and you have to deal with it. So do you guys do any of that stuff, the duct work or designing?
I only with my mechanical contractor. So, I'll be honest. No, I don't. Like I'm not the best at CFM calculating, like load calculating.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd rather not. Like I'd rather just have my mechanical contractor. I always ask him for his, his 2 cents on it, and then I'll let him really deal with that, and then I'll deal with the installation.
which is perfectly fine. I subcontract a lot. I don't know everything. I don't like to do everything. I do want to. I kind of thought about it recently. I do want to take the time to learn more things. So like I do want to learn the hot side, even though I don't really want to do it. But it would be a good skill to have. And then I want to do more or learn more about ductwork, designing. The last time I probably did a heat load calculation was in school. So I mean, there's so many things that I could learn or brush up on. So that's kind of my goal for the near future is to get into more stuff like that. Especially because I've been running into it a lot, where it's like, our quick fix is redirecting ducts to kind of balance, the cold air coming out. That we have more cold air going in the kitchen versus the an empty space, which makes no sense. But the back room, where it's like a place where they have their desk and computer for the managers. That room has like 10 ducts or 10 vents, and I'm like, why do you need all this cold air? Like, there's nothing going on back there. It's just empty, and then the kitchen is struggling over there to keep up. So that's our quick fix for now. But I would like to get more into that and kind of learn other aspects. But there's no shame if you don't know something. Go ahead and subcontract. um, I think that's something I had to learn too. Is when I started, I hated asking for help. I was a little too prideful, but I had to learn, like, it's okay. Ask either for like help as far as like tech support, or if you need to subcontract something that we don't do, like I said, duct work or anything with that aspect that's not servicing or repairs. It's okay to
Hmm.
get somebody else to come in. It's not. I guess I used to see it as like competition, or like it was also for my pride, right? I was like, I can't fix it. Like that's not right. I should be able to fix everything. But um, yeah, asking for help, subcontracting. It's once you get over that pride, anything that helps your company or helps your customer is what's best.
You're 100% right, man. I'll be honest. Yeah, I did the same thing. I'm like, I definitely could relate to that. And like, once you realize it's for like the better good, like, you're like, I don't even want to waste my time on it, or like, I don't want to go through the headache or the time or the, whatever your reputation. You're just like, I want to go as smooth as possible. And like you said, you're like, it's sometimes not worth it, or like sometimes it's like you just got to say, hey, I'm not comfortable, or just ask for help.
Yeah, you get it if you get in over your head and you start like screwing up to that kind of level, like you don't know what you're doing and you're just making it worse. Like, yeah, you need to get over your pride and kind of ask for help.
Yeah, for the most part, because it's easy, man. Like people, especially nowadays, people are so willing to, are so generous with what they want to teach you. It's almost like it's hard. Not to say it's hard to fail, but if you're doing your best, it's almost like it's hard to fail in our industry, especially
Yeah,
if you're doing your best.
yeah, and then like even uh if you have friends, like I said, I have a buddy that does residential work, right? He throws me commercial work, I throw him residential work. So it's good to know other companies for that kind of reference, like they can refer each other. It's good to know plumbers, it's good to know electricians, different fields, because like we have an electrician that we're friends with now, and anytime they need work done at any restaurant that we do, we're not licensed or anything to do that kind of work, like the complicated stuff. So then he goes in there and he can do, breaker panels, he can do the parking lot lights, all this stuff that we don't do. And then when he gets asked for like a referral on like an AC system, they'll call us because he's like, "Oh, I know these people." So it's always good to network and do stuff like that.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Yeah,
Uh,
you meet some really cool people, man. I'm sorry. I
Brian
didn't mean to
here,
interrupt.
yeah, Brian here was like, Burger King was so bad that when you open the door, it pulled out of your hand. I've seen that. I've seen that once. I think it was a wing place. Like literally, like I had a hard time opening the door, and there was people like, girls and stuff, like they were there like trying to get the door open. Like it's ridiculous, but they won't do anything about it. Some companies, and it's funny because it's always the bigger companies, the bigger chains, restaurants. They actually spend less money, or they don't want to waste money on repairs until they absolutely need to. I've had people like I used to do IHOPs and Denny's, all those big national companies, whatever. And I actually knew the owners because they were local. They're millionaires, and then they would fight every invoice. They would be questioning things here and there, and then like I would recommend so many things, and they're like, "Nah, like we'll wait till it breaks, like completely breaks." So that stuff doesn't get fixed half the time.
Yeah.
Seeing load calc and duct design will change your world in central AC. I think more people need to just know all this stuff. Like I said, I did this stuff in school. I already forgot, honestly.
Same here. Same here.
So I need
I
to,
was taught it, but never I haven't utilized it to where I'm comfortable to be like, all right, let me take on this full job. You know.
yeah. And I think a lot of people are like that. A lot of people don't know how to do the calculations, or are not aware that they're oversizing systems, undersizing systems. I've seen it a lot too. So I think we all need to get into that kind of aspect and make sure that because I know for sure I run into systems and I'm like, everything looks good and it's still not cooling. There has to be an issue with the design or the sizing of the equipment. So it's good to, I need to brush up on mine.
Yeah, no, same here. Yeah, especially if you're dealing with some rooms aren't dealing with enough CFM or whatnot. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so
Even
many.
with even with troubleshooting, you're right. Even with troubleshooting, it's like a constant issue. Oh, we're not getting enough air, or it's not cool enough.
Yeah, it's like recently. This was somebody that kind of messed me up. I went into check an AC system and I'm like, I could not figure out. I was like, everything's working fine, or that I could tell just by looking at it. But I was like, we're not getting proper airflow and this and that. And it was a unit that I had worked on, but I had fixed it about a year ago. And I had been there a few times for other calls, and it was always nice and cold in there. It was working good, the AC. I'm more than sure they had another company go out or something, because finally I'm like, let me just start checking everything. Like I was assuming that everything was working because I had seen it working a year ago, right? No broken belt, nothing crazy. The coils look clean. Then I realized that the blower motor was running backwards. And
Oh, I've seen that.
I was like, who did this? I was like, it was working a year ago. So obviously somebody had come in and put a motor at some point, and then they just crossed the wires, which I thought was weird because they're color coded and they were not color coded because they spliced them. They didn't put the colors back matching. So then, at that point it's reversed and it's blowing the other way. And I'm like, man, I was racking my brain on it, and it's just, something basic. It's always something dumb or basic. So you always have to kind of step back and look at your basics. And that's why I said like heat load calculations and ductwork, that should be basics. We should all kind of get back into that and learn to check that at least, because you never know what you run into out there. And it's never super complicated. It's hardly ever super complicated. It's usually like airflow or something basic.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. There's cause and effect with everything, and it's for the most part, it's usually simple. For the most part, I'd always just do like static pressure, make sure my static pressure is fine, and I'm like, all right, I'm good. But yeah, I definitely should like touch up on my load calculation because say if I want to like design a system, definitely would be handy.
I think it opens up a little more for you and like your business. So like I said, that's something that I've been thinking about. Um, oh, and Zach here was like, I think guys are tempted to oversize because they think that works better. I actually had this issue recently. There was one, like I was mentioning the pizza shops. You know, I mentioned one that was hot in the kitchen, cold in the back. There was another one that had something similar, and but I think the whole building, like the unit, it had two split systems. I forgot the tonnage, but uh, it couldn't keep up. Their kitchen was always getting too hot, and we're there, and we're like, it's working. You know, you have a pretty good superheat subcool. The lines are sweating. Everything like visibly is pretty good. Uh, and another company came in because we are thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? We'll kind of do the like what I said. The quick fix for us is go through, make sure we balance out all the vents so that if there's a cold spot, you know, we kind of redirect it to a hot spot. You know, it's just whatever I could do because I could not. I'm not going to redo the ducts. I'm not going to redesign the whole thing. But another company came in and they're like, "Hey, we'll just add another." I was confused at first. I thought at first they wanted to upgrade one of the units, right? Make it bigger, more cold air will solve everything. They actually wanted to add another because they had, like I said, two. They wanted to add a third split system to help the kitchen. And I was like, you know, you're gonna open up another can of worms. You know, there's air balancing. There's gonna be condensation probably. There's gonna be a whole other thing. But there's companies out there that are like what Zach says. They think it's better to go bigger, but then I think you kind of cause other problems. So like I said, I'm trying to educate myself on the duct work, the sizing, the heat load calculation, and all that. But not a lot of companies care about that. They just like it's bigger, it'll be better.
Yeah, no, you definitely see a lot. Like a lot of units are oversized, or yeah, or like sheet metal isn't right. You see that all the time. Like it's not insulated right, so it's not really gonna do the job. So yeah, we do see that a lot out here.
Yeah, I kind of rely on like Jeff and Mike Flynn to kind of
Yeah,
like, oh, okay, that's how it should be done.
yeah. I've
uh,
I've, I've picked up a lot of my installs because of them. I'm like, oh, I'm just like, especially like
yeah,
they're like like the way they do line sets or like your low voltage wiring, how they run it through, and I'm like, oh, I'll take that.
and, and some people are like, oh, he's being, or any of them are being extra. They're doing
Nah,
it for the gram or whatever. I'm like, no, like that's pride, right? I've always been like that. Now I don't do installs, so I can't do what Jeff does. If I show my work, or like if I was showing my work 10 years ago or whatever, I was doing all those little straight lines, but for walk-ins and stuff. But like the rest of the unit looks so shitty, like it wouldn't even look good. You know, my little piece that I fixed, if I'm
man.
running a new piece of line set for like, you know, so many feet, that looks great. You know, that's perfect. But I don't know. I would never take pictures because like all the other stuff looked crappy. But uh, I don't think it's being extra. I think like even like I said myself, I was always worried about straight lines, clean lines. I was always doing bending. I had the old school one that you kind of like bend by hand. Um, but it's cool now to see like those guys and like you said you learned from them. I've learned from them. Um, put that out on social media so that everybody else can be like, oh, I need to step up my game, or I need to do that too, or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that about saying about posting the stuff because sometimes like it doesn't look as clean. Like sometimes I've had to use old line sets, or sometimes I've had to, our service never looks pretty for the most part. Unless you're doing high end
Yeah,
service. Like unless you're doing like really high end service for the most part, it's um, or unless PMs, of course. PMs is like total clean. But for the most part, service is like, especially when you're busy, it's just figure out the
Yeah,
problem.
you're trying to knock it out, and I do that a lot too because the customers won't pay for a big uh, bid or contract or whatever. They want a decent price, so I reuse line sets. Sometimes I'll reuse a certain amount if it's good. If it's in good condition, sure I'll use it. I'll try to make my part clean, and take pride in my side of it. But we all deal with that. I think it's just when you post that, some people will come out and be like, "Why didn't you replace
Yeah, and like you don't have
everything?" Or
yeah, sometimes you just don't have the option. So whether it's like the
no,
lid or like, so say I was doing an install and basically this line set, it's running through a basement and right off the entry hole from outside, there's it goes right into the ceiling of the basement bathroom. So I have no access. Like I can literally have no access unless I take apart the drywall.
oh yeah,
So, like it's either one or the other. So it's either I take off the drywall and, the bathroom.
yeah. Sometimes it's not worth it. You got to do all this other stuff, and it's just gonna make. To me, it's like you're gonna cause headaches or just stuff is not possible sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, it's
Uh,
it's definitely crazy. Like it's contagious when like you're saying about posting good work, or like posting your, it doesn't even have to be the greatest, but people seeing your work, um, like your experiences, and it definitely it does its part.
Mario here. I guess when he does restaurant service, they have to balance the exhaust and makeup during a PM. I kind of go through it. We try to go through everything on a PM. It's nice when you have time. Sometimes I'm trying to do a lot. I have a customer that gives me a deadline to do like 20 stores. So, some stores, some months I might not get to do it as good as I want to, but you do what you can. Let's see. Yeah, if a building is negative, you'll have problems with the AC. There's I don't like the customers, at these restaurants and stuff. They don't understand like the balancing is a big deal. I have a lot that have I want to say the exhaust they'll fix because that's if it's not working, it'll be smoky in the kitchen or whatever. The makeup air they could care less. I have a lot of customers that are like, yeah, we'll get to it eventually, but they don't do it. And then I'm telling the store manager like it's not approved. I can't do anything yet. Um, and they're like, and I'm like, that's why your doors are hard to open or this and that. That's why you have condensation here or there. When it gets approved, I'll do it, but a lot of them don't even get to it. That's the sad part. A big part of HVAC we are seeing in Michigan from cities and code is air balancing on new duct installs. Yeah, air balancing. I think air balancing and duct and heat load calculations are a big. I think that's a big thing to get into right now because not a lot of. I think a lot of companies went away from it. And then Chris here just got done working for a beverage company. It was a disaster. I enjoyed the HVAC side though. HVAC all the way, man.
Yeah, I've never seen the beverage side of our industry. I don't think it's fun because I see those tubes all the time.
No, we used to do gas stations, and that's where we would run into those guys. And they're there. Those things go down a lot too. I feel like, and they're there in the lobby, working on all that stuff. But I've never worked on a beverage, like anything with beverages. The most I do is ice machines, but that's about it.
Yeah, same here. I think the most I've seen is like, or the most I've done is like beer coolers. I've never done any beverage stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
I've seen like the kegs and stuff, but I've never ever worked on it.
yeah. We don't have any right now, but we used to do a lot of beer coolers, and wine coolers, and then the ones that I hate doing right now are the ice machines that have, or the fast food chains that have an ice machine at the drive-through. Because when that thing goes down, I have to get in there, and there's people going through like crazy. I hate that. That's the worst thing I hear right now.
Yeah, or with yeah, no, ice machine. You have to be a different breed. I'm gonna be honest. That's like one of
and
my
it
things.
and it
Yeah,
takes a long time.
yes, yeah. It takes it has the delays, and then it has like your. It takes a minute for your pressures to get regulated, and then your ice. Oh man, you have to wait till the ice coil freezes up and defrosts. And yeah, no, you have to be like to work on an ice machine. You got to be really good with your electrical and your refrigeration side and your plumbing. Like
Yeah,
there's a lot of water cooled ones that I'm like, whoa.
and water. That's like I said. That was a those are they're they're a little bit of a headache, but it's the same thing, right? The only difference, like you were saying, is to me is the water. That's a big thing that goes out. It could be like a filter that they never changed. It could be a water valve or something to do with the water.
Yeah, the solenoid
But
coils. Yeah,
yeah, but what sucks is like when it's not working and you don't know what the problem is. You have to run a couple of cycles of it, maybe making bad ice, or it doesn't want to come off the evaporator or whatever. And then you go into like troubleshooting and fixing it, and then you got to wait another like 2 or 3 cycles to make sure that that ice is working and you're getting good ice and stuff. So there's like, and each one of those could take 15 to 20 minutes. So you do it a couple times to check it, kind of do your repair, and then another few times to check it again. And by that time, you're there for a few hours or whatever it is.
yeah, not including people being on your head. You know what I mean? Like we want ice and it's hot and it's you know what I mean. There's no room for
How
mistakes.
they get, and the people that that are ordering food and stuff, they get so pissed when they don't when they don't have ice. And they
Yeah,
get mad at the manager, and then the manager's like, are you almost done?" Or they're rushing you, and I'm like, "I'm trying."
yeah, no, yeah. You have to be a different breed to work on ice machines. I worked on them. I'm not the most confident on them. I know how like um I've worked on them, but like I'm not a master of it at all. I'll tell you that. Like one thing, it's the like the pressure part of it that throws me off on the ice machines. Just because there's like so many different solenoid coils, and then it has the water cooled coils always throw me off. Always, always.
Yeah, I had one recently that I couldn't even look. It was hard to look at because they have it up against the wall, and the side that was up against the wall, I needed to remove the panel, so it was like a whole thing. But I was trying to look for all my solenoids because I was like, one of them's not working, and I finally found it, and pain in the ass to change. But yeah, different breed, like you said.
Yeah, but
Uh,
it's satisfying. Not to, like, yeah, you're right. It's satisfying. I've only worked on maybe like 10 in my career, but like it's very
hey,
very
when
satisfying.
you figure it out, rewarding, satisfying. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, out here we barely have any ice like people who work on ice machines barely, unless it's
Oh,
a big
really?
company. But like independent, like people who like run their own businesses barely, because it's like specialty work. It's like you don't find too many people who work on refrigeration or boilers or strictly duct work or like it makes it harder. Or it's less common.
Yeah, I think that's why my dad does really well here. There's not a lot of good hot side techs. He actually gets asked to come out to like cities that are like 4 hours away just because nobody there can fix it. Recently, he took over a local like gas station chain because somebody went out there or two companies went out there and they couldn't fix it, but he goes out there and he figures it out or whatever. So, with anything, we need more good techs.
Yep, yep. You're right. You're right.
Uh, okay, so is there any advice you want to give to any of the new guys before we get
Any
off?
yeah no any advice I want to give to newer guys. Um, yeah, now one thing I definitely say is yeah, just keep stay true to your vision and basically keep your faith high because nowadays we're like I don't like how I say this we're in America. We're a land of opportunity. We could wake up and almost do whatever we want to put our hearts to. So yeah, one thing I want to right now may not be the brightest time. I don't know who may be hearing this, but yeah, just keep your faith high and your stay true to your vision, and if you keep working at it, it's bound to happen. So it's one thing I want to definitely let them know because it's a very fruitful industry. like the first few years are as rough as they get. You know, like the
Yeah,
first few years, you're gonna have to accept that you don't know everything. You know, you're gonna have to really like get out of your comfort zone. It's gonna change you a little bit, but the first few years are rough. But once you get past that, it's very very fruitful.
that's awesome, man. And you're a good example. Running a business as young as you are, it's a great accomplishment. And I wish you the best of luck. But you're killing it. So I appreciate you being on the show and sharing your story.
My pleasure to be here. Oh yeah, I had a great
So
time.
everybody in the chat, I know we saw quite a bit of people. Uh, you can follow him on Instagram. Are you on anything else or just Instagram?
Shit's around.
Okay, Anwar HVACR, and then also the HVAC Visionaries, which is Instagram and TikTok. Great group of guys. They're, like I said, pushing for younger people to get in the trade. Which, like I said, I wish I would have seen that when I was younger. I didn't know about this trade. I got into it because of my dad, but I wish I would have known about it sooner, or just shown how cool it was, honestly. So I appreciate you all doing that. uh so yeah, we're gonna sign out. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you guys.
Take care, y'all. Pleasure being here.
All right, we'll cue the outro.